Why do we get so angry when we play video games? Because it makes us better players. Oh, video games, you enrage me so. Let me count the ways. The last second Street Fighter combo. The blame your controller. The tragic assassination by a camping sniper. The teammate fail.
Oh my freaking god!
The magical Madden fumble.
What the f was that?
The terrible AI teammate.
These AI are retarded.
The keyboard smasher. And my personal favorite, the surprise mortality.
I'm dead? What the was that?
Now, there's also the lag, the technical fail, the red ring of death, but we're more interested in the human element. Video games make us angry. That's just a fact. But before we get into why, let's talk about what's happening to us on the inside. Let's look at your body when you play Street Fighter 4 online. You've picked your favorite character, and it's the final moments of round 3. You're ahead, but then it happens. The tide turns. You're losing.
They won't even let me get up. Are you kidding me?
Your heart rate quickens, blood in your arteries tighten, and cortisol decreases to induce stress. And by the time you've received the final blow for the knockout,
Holy shit.
your body is on fire. Weirdly enough, Street Fighter 4 is part of the same evolutionary process that prepped us for combat and dealing with a potential aggressor. You know, like in an actual street fight. Scientists at the University of Missouri have found that hormonal surges in men playing violent multiplayer video games are similar to those of males during reproductive and territorial challenges. So even though your brain knows that it's just a game, the emotions and physical feedback that your body is receiving is very much the real thing.
I will kill you and eat your firstborn child!
So now that we know what's happening in our bodies, is there a deeper reason why video games make us so angry? Absolutely. Getting angry makes us better players in the short term and the long term. Researchers at Stanford and Boston College found that players of confrontational and competitive games like Soldier of Fortune actually made themselves angry intentionally to play better. Similar results came from a University of Missouri study of Super Mario Bros. Yeah. People are studying this. In the study, pairs of male and female subjects played the game competitively or cooperatively. Guess who did better? The pairs that were told to be more aggressive and to win. Yes, playing Mario angry actually helps. On a grander scale, anger is fuel for long-term improvement. For the most part, games are pretty fair. And by fair, I don't mean balanced or bug-free, but fair in that everyone gets the same thing and there's a consistent set of rules for you to conquer. In real life, you might get angry about the lousy job market, but that anger isn't very useful because there are lots of factors that are beyond your control. But in games, you have the same amount of control as everyone else. So anger can actually lead to some level of success. And though it's normally thought of as a negative emotion that should be avoided, anger in this context can be very useful and surprisingly positive. Jennifer Lerner and her team at the Harvard Decision Science Laboratory found that anger encourages people to believe they can control their own future and motivates them to take risks, both of which you'll need to get better at Mega Man 9 or anything else for that matter. How else does anger help? Well, a recent study in psychological science has found that anger actually makes people want things more. Anger activates an area on the left side of the brain that's associated with mainly positive emotions that motivate people to achieve rewards. Basically, if you fail angry, your brain learns to want that win even more. So whether you're trying to eke an extra second out of Super Hexagon or just trying to play Battletoads, anger pushes you to try harder and become better, unless you smash your console. So why does it matter if we get angry at all? Anger means that we have an emotional investment, and that's a good thing. Great art has produced rage throughout the ages. Igor Stravinsky's The Rite of Spring caused a riot after its first performance. In 1988, a man wishing to take revenge on abstract art attacked one of Barrett Newman's paintings. He was sent to prison, only to be released and do the exact same thing. The point is, if we didn't care, we wouldn't get angry, and we wouldn't play. Though frustrating, if games didn't make us so frighteningly angry, then they probably wouldn't be worth playing. And though it breaks my heart and raises my blood pressure, if I stopped throwing controllers against the wall, then something would be seriously wrong. What do you all think? What games make you angry, and does it make you better? Politely hash it out in the comments, and I'll see you all next week. And if you like what we saw, please subscribe. Last week, we talked about gender swapping. Let's see what you all had to say. R. Schmitz left a very powerful comment. Thank you so much for sharing, and good luck. Medieval Lee draws attention to Jennifer Hale's amazing performance as female Commander Shepard in the Mass Effect franchise. She's totally awesome, you're totally right, and there's an incredible profile of her in The New Yorker, linked to in the description. Yuki Fubuki and others made a really good point that the gender stereotypes for females actually carries over into how the characters play. So if you don't want to be a big brawny gentleman and you try to try something totally different, sometimes playing as a female character is more than just gender identity. It actually affects like what happens in the game. Great point. Ryoga316 says that gender swapping may actually be genre specific, that MMOs in his case actually encourage him to play as a male character to represent himself, but other types of games do not. Yeah, I think that that's totally possible. It's different from case to case. Stephanie Long says that she chooses female characters for aesthetics. She said it was a lame reason. That's not a lame reason, it's a totally good reason. And while we're on the subject of aesthetics, many of you mentioned butts and looking at butts, and that's why you chose characters of the opposite gender. Well, if you like looking at butts online or on the screen, great, awesome, continue. All right, so first and foremost, I'm wearing a different shirt. I know.
Looks nice.
I dress nice for you.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, so this is Mike from Idea Channel. You probably recognize him. And he was actually the inspiration for our gender swapping episode. So we thought we would bring him on the show and ask him a couple questions, such as like, why do you decide to play as a woman, or what's the appeal there?
So I think a lot of what I'm trying to do, like when I really want to get into a game, is I really want to try to have an experience that is different from one that I would normally have. And I think like for some reason I decided that step number one for accomplishing that goal is to play as a gender that is not mine.
Right.
And so that's why I always go for a female character, because then that sort of, I don't know if I feel like it gives me permission or something to try to take action in the game that is different from what I would normally.
So
like sorry,
do you play like all characteristics that way? So like you're a good person ostensibly
so
in real life, so you have to
be
play
a terrible person.
Really...
No, not all. And I think I kind of like let the game push me in a direct and like sort of figure out where it takes me.
Right.
But I think it's also, you know, like because I play a lot of tabletop games, so like I really get into this idea of being your character.
Right.
And so yeah, I think it helps me to try to do that. And maybe like switching gender is like gets me
That's a quick,
first,
like I can.
Right, like I look at my character and I'm like, that is definitely not me.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. You should check out Mike's video on controlling versus being your avatar, which is amazing. You should absolutely see it. And you should look for my response in Mike's video.
It's super good.
Yeah.
James is a smart guy.
The best one. Best response ever.
Best response.